What's up, everybody? This is Michael here, and I'm going to do a brand new episode of Rushdown Waifu. And today's episode will be dedicated to Blair Dame. She was recently announced for Fighting Layer EX. No, it's Fighting EX Layer. Or is it Fighting Layer EX? Yeah, it's Fighting Layer EX. So they can't use Flex because they said there was some copyright issues with that. So Blair Dame, I've been loving since '97 when Street Fighter EX first came out. I still have my copy. Actually, I think this is the second or third copy of this game I've purchased over the years. I don't care. I think I lost a copy and then I moved and then I had an issue with, I think some of my stuff got, like, something happened. So I had to buy it more than once. But today I'm going to be talking about mainly just everything about her. But I have a special guest. His name is Michael Saxon. He's does a lot of media when it comes to like female characters and anime and a lot of retro stuff, and his knowledge of fighting game characters is immense. So I felt like who better to have to do her origin and her story and history would be him. So he's gonna take over and talk about just her, all of her origin stuff and her storyline, and I'll come back and talk about the stuff I like, which is like her design and moves and stuff like that. So yeah, without further ado, here's Goddess Media talking about Blair Dame's origin.
So, let's start from the beginning. Miss Blair Dame was one of the most original characters that was released by Arika in the original Street Fighter EX. She would also go in to show up in the upgrade EX Plus, and then EX Plus Alpha released for PlayStation. Her background is of European and Spanish origin. She comes from a rich family with plenty of money, and she grew up in the martial arts. Now, with Blair Dame, she wanted to one day be able to travel the world because she wanted to do things outside of her country. However, she felt that because of her nobility and because of her rank, it would be wise that she learn the martial arts. So she started to teach herself her own version of kickboxing and until she got formal training. So she taught herself, and then she eventually got formal training, of course, with the help of her parents that paid for that schooling. Her overseer, Sebastian, who happens to be her butler, would also help her along the way in overseeing that her education was just. When it became time for her to go and travel the world and take on side missions of her own in partaking, Sebastian and her parents thought it was wise that she hired a bodyguard, and she ended up finding Las Vegas bouncer Crackerjack. So during the series of the first game, Blair Dame was being overseen by Sebastian, her butler, but being protected by Crackerjack. And at the end of the first game, after she ends up going on her side adventures with Purna Pullum, who also had her own bodyguard, Durin Meister, she would go back home to recuperate. It is said that Blair Dame did not win the tournament of the EX series, but she was injured in battle. It was said that Bison injured her really badly, but that part is unknown. What is known is that after the events of the first EX series, she goes home to recuperate, but not for long. After a very short recuperation, she would go and explore something known as South Island. South Island then begins the storyline to what is known as EX Fighting Layer, or Fighting Layer, that was released in 1999. She goes to South Island and she teams up with Alan Snyder, who are both from the EX Plus Alpha game and EX Plus game. And her storyline will continue there onward. There is no ending, unfortunately, to that game, and so we're left in mystery what happens. However, it is then pieced together at the end of the EX3 series that Crackerjack seeks asylum at Blair Dame's mansion because he is now being pursued again by the unknown assailants. During the EX2 storyline, Crackerjack then goes to face on the unknown organization all by himself who has kidnapped his sister. He then rescues his sister and then is now being pursued again. So he's being pursued twice. He's being pursued once because he quits the Las Vegas club as a bouncer to become the bodyguard to Blair Dame. And then Because they couldn't find him, they kidnap his sister, which leads into EX2. He rescues his sister by the end of EX2, and then has to seek asylum at the mansion of Blair Dame, who just comes back from South Island. So it explains why she wasn't in EX2. She's actually in Fighting Layer during the events of EX2 while Crackerjack is trying to save his sister. So I hope all of this is making sense for you guys who's listening to me.
All right, so I'm pretty sure now, after that nice little synopsis of her origin, you have a good idea of who she is as a character and all her motivations and all that stuff for her story. But now I'll talk about one of my favorite things, was the design, because this is what initially caught me on eye when I saw her on Street Fighter EX on the PlayStation. Her design was definitely like for some reason I think I have a thing for girls in leotards, because of course I love Cammy and she's wearing a leotard, and Psylocke, and a lot of characters have leotards. I think I have a thing for women in leotards, and Blair Dame is no exception. I mean, she's wearing like these thigh-high boots, and they're like super leathery, and they have like the buckles on, and then she's wearing these leather gloves, and she got this choker and like this blue hair pent up, and it's blue. She has these really piercing green eyes. Like, this design wise is very simple and subtle, but it's very like sexy and effective, and I ate this up. Like, I love this look in so many ways. I don't like, it's not overly complicated for design, but I think that's the point of it. I think that the simplicity of it really speaks to a different time when Capcom was designing characters back in the day, because I think now they have like a different approach to designing characters. In the 90s, definitely hair like that was just like this really severe like stuff going on in the hair, and just really strict like lines and stuff. You can definitely tell the difference between the designs they do back in the 90s to the designs they do now for like their current games. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a very different approach to character design. And I definitely appreciate Blair Dame's original design, but I do love the redesign they did for her. I mean, she's got the same, the aesthetic is still there, but now it's just a little more updated, more polished, more cooler, and more detail in it. Alright, so a character's only as good as it is to play with them. Like, they can have great motivation, great storyline, and great design. They could be completely crap. But for Blair Dame, she pretty much, her design and her origin lives up to her fighting style. Like, her kickboxing fighting style, which is a really weird name for fighting for kickboxing, but it just works so well. Like, she's really combo up. She kind of reminds me of King from KOF. In fact, that her version of kickboxing is very unique to her. It doesn't feel like other characters kickboxing. Like, you can tell that I didn't know she did kickboxing when I originally played this game in like 97, but I'm glad that Arika kept her playstyle pretty much the same. Like, I don't see too much that's really too much new. Like, she has a new super, which I'm excited about, like a new corkscrew super where she's going out the air diagonally and like spinning in a corkscrew, and I'm just so pumped for this game. I just love everything about her fighting style. Like, it's really cool. It's very fast paced. It's very combo heavy. That's probably another thing I love about her, that she's very combo heavy. Like, her combo potential in this game, and probably overall just always been really good and strong. And I love characters that have very strong like combos and just like really interesting ways to do things. And I always thought that her fighting style just looked very unique, and I didn't see too many female characters that played like her before either. So it was very new to me in 97 seeing her, and I'm glad that I'll be able to rekindle that love for her as soon as Fighting Layer EX comes out. They said June, so fingers crossed for that. I'm so ready. I hope they put more characters in, but Blair Dame is just an amazing character, and I hope more people getting to love her just as much as I do, and just as much as Michael does, because me and him just talk about her so much. So yeah, if you want to, you can actually check out his full video on Blair Dame. He has a very long analysis on her. I'm going to put it in the description below with links to all his stuff so you can check it out. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're going to buy this game that comes out. Buy it, please. Do them justice. Buy it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.